Welcome students. This housing information session is meant for students who are planning to register to live in a main campus residence hall for the fall of 2015, spring 2016. The main campus residence hall housing registration process will be conducted March 16th to March 24th. All students planning to participate must create a roommate PIN through the Student Housing Gateway. This must be done prior to the housing registration process. If you do not create a roommate PIN, you will be unable to register to live in a main campus residence hall. This must be done prior to the registration process. Full occupancy is required to register for a main campus room. This means if you're registering for a double room, you need to have yourself and a roommate as part of your group. If you're trying to register for a triple room, you need to have yourself and 2 roommates to register for a room. All spaces in each room must be filled by continuing residential students. This means that everybody who's living in your room that you're registering with must be somebody who is living with us this semester in the spring 2015 semester. Housing registration is conducted each day from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. Students must use Internet Explorer or Firefox and enable pop-ups in the web browser. Each group will select a designated roommate who will register their group for an assignment. The designated roommate must have each student's LancerNet ID, RMS ID, and roommate PIN to complete the registration process. This means that we just need one person from your group to log into the computer. They will sign themselves up for the room and then pull in the other individuals as their roommates. Those students that do not have enough roommates to fill a room to full occupancy should submit preferences for housing on the designated date, and the RCL office will assign the student to a housing space. So this means if you're a student that wants to live in a double room and you don't have a roommate, you're going to submit preferences for housing and we will register you for a space. If you're a single student and you want to just live in a single room in South Ruffner, you would go online, complete the registration process, because you can self-assign yourself to a single room because you're filling it to full occupancy. Next, what I'm going to do is take you through the timeline for housing registration. Sophomore room selection for students with 40 to 55 completed credits at the end of the spring semester. Those students will register March 16th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. The designated roommate must have earned between 40 to 55 credits at the conclusion of the spring semester in order to assign themselves and other students to the selected main campus room. Full room occupancy is required to register for a main campus room, and only continuing residential students can participate in the main campus housing registration process. The next registration day is for sophomores with 25 to 39 credits. They're going to register March 17th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. The designated roommate must have earned between 25 to 39 credits at the conclusion of the spring 2015 semester in order to assign themselves and other residential students within the selected main campus room. Full room occupancy is required to register for a main campus room. Only continuing residential students can participate in the main campus housing registration process. The next registration day is freshman room selection. This is for continuing students with 24 or less completed credits. They will register March 18th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. The designated roommate must have earned between 24 or less credits at the conclusion of the spring 2015 semester in order to assign themselves and other residential students within the selected main campus room. Full room occupancy is required to register for a main campus room. Only continuing residential students can participate in the main campus registration process. The next date for the registration is solo residents. These are freshmen or sophomores, like I said before, that couldn't fill a room to full occupancy. They will register March 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. Students with 55 or less completed credits at the conclusion of the spring 2015 semester that cannot fill a room to full occupancy must submit housing and meal plan preferences for an assignment and will be notified of this assignment by the Residential and Commuter Life office. The following registration day will be for juniors and seniors, students with 56 or more credits. They will register March 23rd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. through the Student Housing Gateway. The designated roommate must have earned 56 or greater credits at the conclusion of the spring 2015 semester in order to assign themselves and other residential students within the selected main campus room. Full room occupancy is required to register for a main campus room. Only continuing residential students can participate in the main campus housing registration process. The next registration day is what we can call the main campus wait list. That will be on March 24th. In the event the supply of main campus beds is exhausted or students cannot fill a room to full occupancy, continuing residents with 56 or greater credits at the conclusion of the spring 2015 semester may submit housing preferences through the Student Housing Gateway. If space becomes available, RCO will contact students regarding his or her waitlist application. Submission of a waitlist application does not guarantee that the RCO office will have sufficient space to assign the student to a housing space. But what I will say is that the past 3 years, we have been able to assign every single student to a housing space. Whether that's on main campus or in an apartment community, those students who submit the waitlist application will receive a housing assignment from the RCL office. It may take some time to find a space to assign you, and some students, based upon their preferences, may have to wait until closer to the end of the spring semester to receive their housing assignment. Some helpful reminders. Curry Hall, Fraser Hall, and Ark Hall will continue to offer both double and triple room accommodations. South Ruffner Hall will provide both single rooms and double room accommodations. The housing rates for 2015-2016 are published on the RCL website. Students should discuss these rates with their family or financial provider prior to housing registration. All students that register for housing are signing a legally binding agreement. All students are encouraged to review the published housing terms and conditions, which can be found on the RCL website. Students can access the Student Housing Gateway through the RCL website or directly at the link below. This link has also been emailed to students along with the housing information. It's important to have a backup plan. What will your group do if your first choice is no longer available when you register? What will you do if your second choice is no longer available when you register? It's important that you talk about this prior to the housing registration date. Make sure that you enable pop-ups in your web browser and use Firefox or Internet Explorer. The total number of main campus rooms that remain after each registration date will be posted to the RCL website. This will be posted after 5 p.m. Make sure the designated roommate has each student's roommate PIN, LancerNet ID, and RMS ID number. You will also want to collect each student's meal plan choice because you will be registering for a meal plan as well. Any student that requires a health or disability related housing accommodation must apply for these accommodations each year. The deadline to apply is February 13th.